What's up? Semifinals.
Yo, answers by guess.
Hey.
What's up there, guess?
What's up? Week 16,
Dying. Fucked.
semifinals,
I'm
Wednesday
excited.
night, everything in one shot. Let's do
I'm
it.
ready. I am ready, sir. Do you want to talk about week 15 at all, or no?
Week 15 was okay. We had some good calls, I feel like. I don't see, looking back, too many things that were too bad. I mean, I think the worst part of last week was Monday night. Both of those games were absolutely atrocious. We had our group chat for the ABG League, and I couldn't. My eyes were bleeding. I couldn't take it, but I couldn't turn it off just because I can't. But uh, you know, um, I'm excited for this week, but we got a lot of guys out, injuries, COVID.
COVID taking over the NFL, man.
Yeah,
Yikes. I'm kind of hoping they stay away from Cincinnati as I got Burrow and Chase, and those have been my most consistent guys as far as not getting injured or not getting COVID. So,
yeah. Um, for those of you that are, if anyone's watching, just joining maybe for the first time, or not for the first time, Rob and I have been doing some discussions, and we're going to be changing some programming for next season. Um, One of them will kind of go into effect a little bit tonight. So instead of just going through all the games and then getting to the questions, we're going to go through a couple games, answer a couple questions, go through a couple games, answer a couple questions. That'll be like the Saturday, Sunday shows. Tuesday shows will pretty much stay the same, but a few things are going to be different next year. We always got to evolve. So if you're with us now, stick with us next year.
I like it, man. Yeah, I think it was going to be helpful for everybody. It'll make the flow go a little better here and keep things exciting. All right. Always remember, like us, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Let's jump right into the Thursday night game here, bud.
Okay.
San Francisco at the Tennessee Titans. I'm sorry, San Francisco 49ers. Forgot to even write 49ers there. At the Tennessee Titans. Um, San Francisco coming off of a big win against Atlanta. We kind of expected that to happen. Eli Mitchell out again. Jeff Wilson actually looked pretty good, though. How will the running situation? Can we see Jeff Wilson playing well against the Titans front line, who's not horrible? Um, and is it still Debo show? I mean, Kittle's been looking great. Are you starting Jimmy G on a Thursday? Titans are getting their wide receivers back. Julio Jones practicing full today. AJ Brown seems to be coming off the list and going to be ready to go. They're getting healthier. They're still kind of in the top of their division. I think they're 9-5, if I'm not mistaken. Who's the players we're looking to play from Tennessee if we are looking to play them?
Yeah, I think that there was one egregious bad call last week. It was Jeff Wilson. Did not have faith in him. Don't have faith in that knee. Still don't going into this one. He did do well last week. Last week's game against the Falcons, I thought that they would air it out a little bit more than they did. But Wilson was having success on the ground, so he had a good game. So my only thing that I would say is, if you had Wilson on your bench and you got through, um, I don't think that he's a must start. I don't think so. I think just looking at this game on paper now, knowing what we know, seeing what we've seen out of Tennessee the past few weeks, I mean, the immediate thought, and my immediate thought as well, was, oh my God, Niners are going to win this game easily. And the Niners are actually 3.5 point road favorite. So the fact that what you just mentioned about A.J. Brown coming back, maybe Julio coming back, Foreman's been doing okay. Hilliard there and the rest of the bunch. I got a feeling the Titans win this one. The Niners are surging. And my initial thought, until honestly, maybe 30 minutes ago, when I started looking through the games, because I had to be a little bit prepared. We've never done it this quick. And we know the thing is with Wednesdays, Tuesday shows typically is like, this is our thoughts on a Tuesday, take it with a grain of salt. So do check in. We're going to be busy, as you will, with Christmas and whatnot. Check in, because things are going to change. They change by the minute. This entire season, things are changing by the minute. And, somebody who we could say in this show later on that we like or we don't like, we could like or not like them, or vice versa, come Saturday, Sunday. But Wilson, I would I don't know. I'm still not buying it. I know there's not going to be Mitchell there. Just don't trust it. Tennessee at home, tough defense. Getting their wide receivers back, I think they're going to be able to move the ball. I think Tennessee sneaks this one out. I think the home field advantage is big enough. But I think if I have to, for whatever reason, maybe I'm a Tyreek Hill owner, especially, and A.J. Brown, I had him on IR or something, or on the bottom of my bench. I think I got to play him this week against the Niners because I do think the Niners will be able to put up points with Debo. I believe Ayuk is okay.
I believe he is. Yeah, let me double check.
Kittle, Jennings, I think scored last week, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll be able to. What was that?
Ayuk seems to be good to go.
Okay. So I'm fine playing my Niners. I do think this one will be higher than I'm looking at all the lines here. So this is like the first time I've ever done this because typically this is what I would do on a Tuesday-ish, Wednesday-ish anyways, but we're doing the whole show here, so I figured let's do it now. I think it'll be over the 44.5. I think you will get some offensive production here. If you got this far using Deontay Foreman and you have to, go ahead. Don't love him. But I do think Tennessee's going to have to throw the ball. I think they squeaked this one out in the end. But A.J. Brown, I would have no reservations about putting in my lineup at this point, especially with all people out.
It's funny. It's not funny, but I'm looking at the COVID list, and I mean the amount of people that are on this list, and this is just from an offensive side. It's just crazy. I may have to start Julio this week, man. To be honest with you, I have Tyreek Hill, who's questionable. Hopefully, they move that game to Tuesday. I lost MVS as well. A lot of players injured, and so on and so forth. I don't like it. I may see who I get on waivers, but he is definitely, at least he's healthy that he can play.
Yeah, Rob, I hate to tell you, but he's one that I'm worried about. And I know you are too. It's soft tissue, always with him. His age, he can't stay healthy. He's somebody, the epitome of, I'm worried about you getting through the whole game. He's Rashad Penny in wide receiver form. Much more acclimated, for lack of a better term, obviously. But, I feel like they have enough extra guys that Julio will be there. He'll do a couple things, but we just got to worry about him getting through the game. So I'll root for you.
Yeah, I'm still not 100%. Again, depending on if I get people on waivers that I'm looking to get, Julio will go back to the bench. But taking a look at him, what he looks like this week, he's not somebody I'm going to drop. I think he has a good matchup next week, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look it up. But all right, let's go on to the next one here. Cleveland Browns at your Green Bay Packers. Cleveland coming off a tough loss, a Monday night game or Monday afternoon game, evening game. Raiders snuck it out. Nick Mullins didn't look horrible. Chubb was the show. We kind of suspected that. DPJ had a couple catches, a couple drops too, man, that I think that changes the dynamic of the game, to be honest with you, if DPJ could actually catch the ball. Are we comfortable starting anybody from Cleveland besides Chubb? For Green Bay, as I just mentioned, MVS is out. So there's a possibility of him coming back. I guess he could possibly test out. I'm not sure who's vaccinated, who's not vaccinated. It doesn't mention as far as that. But if he does have the opportunity to come back, are you playing an MVS? If he doesn't, is Lazard a full boat? Because we're seeing Adams being double teamed. And who's the running back? Is it Jones or is it Dillon?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Rob, I'm glad this game is next. Like, I would be looking for Allen Lazard if somebody doesn't have him. I don't know if maybe Larry has him on his team or something, but he's somebody I would play over Julio with extreme confidence. He's really been coming out in the past few weeks. No MVS. Not sure who their deep guy is going to be. Maybe Akanimi, St. Brown. Maybe Amari Rogers will get some burn. Maybe they just keep it close with Lazard, with Adams, with DeGuara, who's coming on strong. The two running backs. Cleveland's problem in that Raiders game was so many drop passes. It was absolutely disgusting. DPJ, Higgins, it didn't matter. Everybody was dropping passes. They should have won that game easily. You said it right. Mullins looked good. Baker's coming back. This is the battle of my favorite team and my closet favorite team. I don't know if it's the position Green Bay's in, but I am nervous about this game, but kind of not. I was more nervous about the Ravens game without Lamar. But kind of not. I feel like Green Bay will be able to move the ball. Chubb will be a problem, but their defense has just been stepping up. But you got to play Chubb. We'll see if Landry comes back.
That's exactly who I'm looking up right now. He's still listed as COVID-19.
Yeah, I think Hooper will be back. I think he's off the list. But DPJ could beat him deep. But I would stay away from the Browns if it's not Chubb in this one. And the Packers, you know who you're playing in this game.
Yeah, I got a tough call for Dynasty to play Dillon or not. He's one of the question marks that I have. The Cleveland Browns defense did play well, obviously, but they were playing the Raiders. So, all right, let's go on to the next one here. Indianapolis Colts at the Arizona Cardinals. Colts won because of Jonathan Taylor's huge run at the end. It was funny. I don't know if you actually saw the video they posted saying that Wentz told him, "Hey, you need to bust one here." And he goes, "All right, no problem." And I think literally when they got onto the field, he did it. And Wentz is like, "Holy crap!" Like running down the field. It was awesome to see. Obviously, they're doing the Hard Knocks during the season, so you're getting that extra footage. But Pittman, is he worth the start this game? I mean, his attitude, he's not getting this ball the same way. Anybody else we could be looking at from a wide receiver standpoint that would be a possible start here? Obviously, you're going JT. Is Wentz startable if you need to, if there's COVID issues? Arizona, they looked horrible last week against Detroit. Is this the bounce back game? If it is the bounce back game, who the hell's getting the ball?
Yeah, this game's kind of twofold, and on a Wednesday it's tough. As far as the Colts go, Pittman, we liked him last week. Told a bunch of people to play him. He could have had a 60-yard touchdown in the first drive. He got ejected early in the third quarter. Who knows what he would have done the second half? Who knows how the game would have went? But it was a wrong call because that's how fantasy goes. Doesn't matter if it's one play. Doesn't matter if you get hurt. Doesn't matter if you get injured. Bad call's a bad call. You throw him in this lineup. Arizona is the issue. However, if you're playing Pittman and Taylor, you have to put in your lineup. There's no reason you're in semifinals not using them. But with Pittman, the issue is Arizona's offense. Because if Arizona's offense continues to do pretty much what they've done this entire season when they don't have DeAndre Hopkins and do nothing. Like, we saw it in the Green Bay game when Hopkins had the big catch and then he went out. Should have scored the touchdown, what they call it, the offensive pass interference, or stepped out, or whatever it was. I don't even remember. Then he went out. The offense struggled. He came in the game, they moved the ball. Then he had to go out again, and then they stalled. And it's like whenever he's not there, they stall. And that's something I completely overlooked going into last week. I thought that they would go ramshack all over the Lions. And completely overlooked the fact that you and I have talked about all year long. The Lions play tough, and they played really well. They played a ton of close games, and that was an oversight for us. But Pittman is going to rely on Arizona's offense. Will Arizona's offense be able to move the ball without DeAndre Hopkins, and likely without James Conner? Doesn't look like James Conner is going to go in this one. If he does, I can't see him being much more limited. I know he played last week, but he's not. And Edmonds, do you want to play Edmonds? Colts have a good defense. They're sort of becoming what you and I both kind of thought they would be. So it's really tough. However, this game does have the Week 16 guesstimated. We kind of had a good discussion, and the one guy, we talked about him on Sunday when we did last week's show, and he fills in pretty admirably. And I told everybody, I said, Kirk's guy, it's not AJ Green. AJ Green, I don't know what's going on with him. It's honestly like he's wearing beer goggles when he's out there. It's like from the play in the Green Bay game sense, it's like he just looks like a lost cause out there. I know he's putting up some stats, but that's not the AJ Green that we've known for years. It's not the AJ Green we saw earlier in the season. But they do have somebody that fills in whenever DeAndre's out. He did all right last week. Rob, you brought it up. He almost should have caught a touchdown. Almost did. That's Antoine Wesley. So if you're looking for somebody to fill in your Tyreek Hill shoes, maybe you're in a really deep league. I know Tyler Lockett's still on the COVID list. You're looking for somebody that you have to just pick off the wire and just take a Hail Mary with. I think that the Week 16 guesstimator of Antoine Wesley is that guy. He hasn't exploded yet, but this is a game, as Rob mentioned in the intro to this game, where the offense needs to explode, and they're going to need somebody with a little bit of that. Kirk can be that guy. Rondale Moore can be that guy. We know AJ Green can be that guy when he's not drunk. And without Connor, I don't think, and the little bit of Edmonds that they're going to use, I think at home, Kyler's going to have to step it up. And I think he's going to have to get Antoine Wesley involved because the Colts defense is going to key in on Kirk. They're going to key in on AJ Green. They're going to key in on stopping the run from both Kyler and Edmonds. And Wesley's a guy who shown last week and all the times he has been out that he can get open. Almost caught a touchdown last week. And a lot of times we see this. People almost catch touchdowns one week. The next week, they do. And that's what I think you're going to get here with Antoine Wesley. I think if you need a 12-point guy, he could be that guy very easily. I think 4 for 60 and a touchdown, 14 points is not out of the question.
I like it, man. Yeah, I mean, 1 foot out. I mean, it was a huge play, too. I think it was like a 40-something yard bomb and on a 4th down play. He should have had it. He should have had it if he could just get his feet in.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We'll do some questions.
Sure. All right, Kalen with the question here. At the beginning of the year, I thought this was my worst team I've done. 16 weeks later, here I am passing first round of the finals, hoping to win it all. With that said, I'm trying to nab Justin, Jackson, and Huntley. Do I drop Cousins? And also, would you start Huntley over Burrow?
Your first sentence at the beginning of the year, I thought this was the worst team I've done. And then you ... 16 weeks later, you're one of the best in the league. That is this season in a microcosm. So the teams that many people thought were going to be world beaters haven't really turned out that way. And the teams that kind of snuck out are kind of sneaking up. It's not everywhere, but it's a lot of places. Teams that you looked at them in the beginning and you're like, what? But then this season has just sort of been that kind of season. It is certainly the strangest fantasy season that I can remember, at least in recent memory. I mean, there's no real consistency. I mean, there's a few, but there's not anything that's like tried and true, like slam dunk. And just when you think it is, it's not. And that's fantasy in a nutshell. But this year is just exacerbated. This year is just magnified. With that said, as you said, Justin Jackson. I mean, when we get to that game, yeah, Eckler's going to be out. He's on the COVID list. And Justin Jackson has been the best one. But is it going to be him? We don't even know. Roundtree's been inactive. They could bring him in and screw the entire fantasy universe. I would rather go after Rojo. Very likely Ronald Jones is available in your league if Justin Jackson is. Justin Jackson has been far more productive week in and week out than Ronald Jones has. If it's not a dynasty league, I'd imagine Ronald Jones is available. I would go after him. He's going to be the starting running back for at least this week, next week, and maybe a third. They might even hold Fournette out if they clinch a playoff berth. Just to have him for the playoffs because he is playoff Lenny. If he's not available, maybe Chase Edmonds is. I don't know. Maybe not. But Justin Jackson worries me. He's definitely the best of the bunch this year. But Kelly's there. Roundtree's there. And I can't say that Justin Jackson is going to be the best one because I just don't have that feeling. I feel like it'll be a three-headed monster. Whoever's hot in the game will get the most touches. And there's no guarantee it's Justin Jackson because we've seen Justin Jackson falter in this position before. And as far as Huntley goes, Lamar didn't practice today, but there's no guarantee that Lamar is not coming back. So it's like, who are you going to drop Kirk Cousins to get Huntley? I don't know. Kirk Cousins has quietly been doing okay.
Just to kind of fill in, I do have his team in front of me. He has Le'Veon Bell on his bench, Leonard Fournette, Miles Sanders, Brandon Cooks, and Adam Thielen. Cooks going on COVID. That could be somebody he may just be able to put into his IR spot to be able to pick up Huntley Jackson.
Well, here I completely zoned out when you said Le'Veon Bell because I started thinking about something that I wanted to mention. It was brought up a couple shows ago. Somebody's like, what's the theme of the season? And since then, I've kind of just kept going back to the fact that the theme of the season is stupid coaches. Okay? Stupid coaches. And it could be a myriad of things. It's stupid coaches playing players when they shouldn't be, stupid coaches calling stupid plays, stupid coaches going for it on 4th down when you're in field goal range, and all you need is a field goal to either take the lead, cut the lead to 3, tie the game. You go for it, you end up screwing yourself, and you don't get it. And then later on in the game, you do the same exact thing. Or if you just need an extra point at the end of the game to tie the game, talking to you, John Harbaugh, with the best kicker in the league, maybe in history. Stupid coaches. But there's also stupid coaches in this aspect. This season, I've seen more coaches play like bad fantasy football managers. And what I mean by that is when they have an injury or something occur, they go out to the streets and the world is at their fingertips. They could get any of these guys and they're plucking these old men who are washed up because, hey, I know that name, like a bad fantasy manager. A bad fantasy manager, instead of looking beyond the past stats, most of them sometimes 5 to 10 years old, and digging a little deeper and looking at some tape about, hey, this guy was undrafted, played on a practice squad or is on a practice squad. Maybe I should sign him to the team and give him a shot. See what he's got. If he's got nothing, we cut him. We pick somebody else. No, they keep getting Devonta Freeman, Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell. Like, come on. Give these young guys a shot. Adrian Peterson. It's like, how many teams are going to pick up Adrian Peterson and have him be worthless? How many bad fantasy managers were going bonkers over Adrian Peterson when he got signed? And I told you why. Why? Same thing with Le'Veon Bell. Why? Like, what do you think's going to happen, Bruce Arians? Like, you're doing it. He's coming back with Antonio Brown. Sure, maybe he comes back and Brady makes him a better player. Possibly. But he's not going to help you the way I feel like a young buck could. Somebody who's dying for a chance. Because there's tons of them out there. Bryce Love, I'm talking to you. He's on a couch eating potato chips. His NFL career is over. I don't understand. What's happening? You can't even get any updates on it. It's like he just gave up. He just gave up on life. But I digress. So Le'Veon Bell, I'm not buying into it before anybody asks a question about Le'Veon Bell signing to the Bucs. No. No. I don't care if he kills it. No. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to your team. There's 2 weeks left. No. You're not using Le'Veon Bell these last 2 weeks. Rojo, this is his shot. And they're going to give it to him. And that's who I picked up other than Justin Jackson. And I like Huntley. Told people about Huntley long ago. Wish I brought down, I was going to bring down his rookie auto and just be like, boom, we start bringing cards onto the show. Maybe we get that card game going. Maybe we do that next year, maybe even next week. I like him. He's Lamar. Might even be better, honestly. Maybe not elusive, but he might be a little more accurate. We won't go that far, but we don't know if he's going to play. I'm not dropping Kirk Cousins for Huntley. Not right now. No.
All right, let's go on to the next one here.
That was a
Jason with a
long
question.
answer.
Jason has a question here. Russell Gage, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, AJ Brown need to pick 2. Help.
I gotta look. I know DJ Moore's got that Tampa game.
Yep. Atlanta's playing the Lions. TJ Moore, you already mentioned. T. Higgins is playing the Baltimore Ravens, and then AJ Brown's Thursday night.
Yeah, I would love to use AJ Brown. We'll see how the week goes, Jason. If he's practicing in full and he looks good, reports are good, I might take a stab at AJ Brown on Saturday or Thursday. Stick with us for that. We'll update on the page. This is a question from the page, I'd imagine. We'll update that. I'm going to play DJ Moore, and I think Higgins is a good pick. Russell Gage has been hot. Can he stay hot? He's pretty much their best player. He's going against Detroit. I might just go DJ Moore and Russell Gage. And just not.
I just have no faith in DJ Moore, man, to be honest with you. I'm kind of thinking Gage and Higgins. But I think since he needs the game more than Carolina, and Bucks are just going to be so pissed off from what happened last week, Robbie Anderson's coming on too. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad play. He's been seeing targets. It's just, I don't know, it's not DJ Moore for the beginning of the season.
All right. And I didn't even like DJ Moore in the beginning of the season. And I'm not allowed to recommend guys I don't like. So go ahead with Gage and Higgins.
All right. Darko, I would rather pick up Josh Gordon than play Julio. Yeah, not a bad choice, man, to be honest with you.
Especially with Hill out.
Maybe secretly somebody I'm picking up.
Yeah. I don't know what these mean.
Hosty with Vostik.
Yeah. I think we got that before.
Karup with Vom Ong.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry. Who would you drop for what is that? Point per attempt for Rojo, Henderson, Edmonds, or Penny?
You know, Penny.
He plays with your heartstrings, man.
I mean, he got hurt, but then he wasn't hurt. He came back, but while he was gone, DJ Dallas ran in a four-yard touchdown. DJ Dallas outproduced him. They still have so many running backs there. And Henderson is exactly what I said was going to happen. They were saving Sony Michel for this. I know Henderson was just coming back from COVID. So Henderson's probably going to be more involved this week. When we get to that game, it's kind of the feeling I'm getting is a lot of people played Henderson yesterday, and Sony got the majority. And if they own both, are probably going to play Sony next week and probably get screwed because Henderson will carry the ball more. I think it'll be much closer, at least at best, for both of them, 50-50. I think it was just Henderson's first game back. Sony's running well. But I do think Henderson's just going to go up. And Edmonds, I don't think you can drop Edmonds because Connor is like the same situation as Leonard Fournette. Not as hurt, but the team's in a good position to make the playoffs, and they're going to need Connor, and they're going to have to use Edmonds. I think that your only option would be Penny.
I'm going to agree with that.
And I don't think it's that bad of a call because he killed it against the Texans. He didn't do too good against the Rams. That's like the worst and the best. So he's probably somewhere in the middle is his production. But when Collins is there, if Homer ever comes back, Dallas every once in a while. So I would be okay dropping Penny for Rojo, I think.
I agree with that. Penny would probably be my drop. You got to think about it. Henderson has Michelle, Edmonds, and Connor, and then Penny has Collins, Homer, Peterson. I mean, the whole to-do.
Yeah. What's up, Chad?
What's up, Chad? What's going on, brother? All right. Renfro, Higgins, Russell Gage, start 2.
I'm going to go with Renfro and Gage.
Yeah, I would probably do the same thing there.
I mean, I know we like Higgins, but Gage is just running hot. He's running hot. They're going against Detroit. They're at home. Matt Ryan's typically better at home, and Renfro just basically got locked down. Um, and they are going against the Broncos, but they're at home, and it's Drew Lock Broncos. So I do think there's a more opportunity for more possessions for the Raiders. We haven't got to the game. We might knock it out now. Um, because Drew Lock's going to turn the ball over more than Teddy would. He's also going to take shots more than Teddy would. He's got a much bigger arm. So I do think that Vegas is going to have potential for more possessions.
Go for it.
And more possessions. And I think Renfro bounces back. It was a down week. But you start him again this week. You ride that ebb and flow.
Anybody else we should be looking at? I know Javonta's a little banged up. He's questionable. Gordon seems to be still stealing carries from him. And the wide receiver core for the Denver Broncos. I mean, is it going to be an upgrade with Drew Lock, or are we afraid of what's going to happen there?
I think it's an upgrade. I certainly do. I mean, they're going to keep the offense relatively the same, but the passes are going to have just a little more pepper on them, a little more sauce. I think Sutton will get a little more involved. But there's no way in hell you're playing Sutton in the semifinals when you haven't, unless you have Tyler Lockett, Tyreek Hill, MVS. Unless those were like your three, and you're like, oh man, now I got to play Sutton. Okay, you play Sutton, and you got a shot because you're going against Vegas. And Vegas defense, they played okay the other night, but they haven't played that great lately, and I don't think they're that great. But I see an upgrade for their wide receivers. Listen, the Week 16 shows for us, typically Week 15. This one gets tough because nobody's playing in a game that means much with bums. But now we got COVID and a ton of injuries, so now there's a chance for a couple bums. You're going really with what got you there. You got a couple iffy spots, wide receiver 3 type plays. I think you got to play in this one, Josh Jacobs. I don't think there's a way you take him out of your lineup if he's been doing well, especially if flex plays perfect. I'm doing that in my game where I'm in the semifinals. There's no way I would take him out. Not for Damian Harris, not for Ramondre Stevenson, who's sick anyways, not for Rashad Penny. So, he's definitely in there. And I don't think I can go to the well with Bryan Edwards. I know he caught his touchdown last week, but I love him to death, but you can't. So it's Renfro, it's Jacobs. We'll see if Waller practices at all. I do think Sutton bounces back. Drew Lock loves Sutton. Drew Lock loves Fant. Those two guys have been a little low. I mean, he loves Alberto. That's a boy in college, but Fant and Sutton are two guys I think could bounce back in this one. I think you're going to see a different type of Broncos. If you have to use a Bronco, I don't recommend them. But if you have to, I think you could be pleasantly surprised with Drew Lock.
All right, let's go into another game here. Detroit Lions at the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, Detroit coming off of a big win. We'll be posting a video of Josh Reynolds, your call. St. Brown, you had mentioned as well, and I had called. Detroit just beat up on them. They actually look like they can move the ball. Every single running back touched the ball, but Swift and Jamal Williams are coming back, it seems like. Both practice in full today. How does that change the situation? Are we comfortable starting those two guys? And how does it affect your wide receiver crew there? The flip side, Cordarrelle Patterson. I mean, is there anybody else? And Gage? Those are the only two? Or can you start Matty Ice if you're in a pinch this week?
Well, as far as the Lions go, those two wide receivers are absolutely ascending. Amon-Ra, basically over the past 5 weeks or so. They're both starts this week. Josh Reynolds is a start if you need him. Amon-Ra, St. Brown is a start if you need him. And a pickup if he's out there, both of them. Falcons secondary. I do think Atlanta scores points in this one, and Detroit showed that they can score points now that they have some viable options. Khalif Raymond's still doing things out there. They're using backup tight ends if Hockenson isn't there. They're getting the running backs back this week, both of them. That pushes Craig Reynolds aside. that pushes Godwin, Igwebuike aside. But it's the top two dogs. And if they play and they're healthy, this game, I think, can be a back and forth. And that's kind of why, as well as the trajectory over his past few weeks, that I'm kind of high on Gage this week. He's proven to be their best. Rob, you loved him in the beginning of the season. Got to give you props. It took a while for it to happen.
It took a while for him to heat up, man.
It took until the first week of the playoffs, last week of the regular season. But it's happening. And you know who's suffering because of that is Cordarrelle Patterson. Couple down weeks over the past couple. Not like we were used to anyway. And Kyle Pitts, interesting story. A lot of people, like if I said Kyle Pitts to you, and I'm like, from what you thought, where he was drafted, Kyle Pitts, what type of season, how would you say his season has gone?
Pretty good.
Yeah? I think you're in the minority.
I think it went pretty good, to be honest, for a tight end first year. But I follow this tremendously.
I think a lot of people think that he's a bust. I think a lot of people have no clue. He is either number 2 or number 3. I think he might be number 3 at this point. Top 3 tight end rookie seasons of all time.
Wow.
Mike Ditka's number 1. Jeremy Shockey's number 2. Number 3, I believe, is Keith Jackson. And 4, I want to say, is a dude that I don't even know, Charlie Young. He was behind them. I think he moved ahead of Keith Jackson and Charlie Young. He's within striking distance this week of moving into number 2 all time. I think he's only like 60 yards behind Shockey. Shockey's rookie season, like if you're old enough to remember, like he was a freaking explosion onto the scene, right? He was like instant fan base, especially us living in New York. Like it was like everybody was like milking their teats over Jeremy Shockey.
Your favorite team.
Yeah. Ditka's like 200 yards ahead of Shockey. So I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to pass number 1 all time. But a lot of people think that Kyle Pitts is having a disappointing season. He's not a bust at all. He's a rookie tight end, as you mentioned. And he's like right now number 3 all-time tight end rookie season. And Mike Ditka, you know what makes it even crazier when I was reading about this. Number 1 all-time, over 1,000 yards, 10-game season.
Holy crap.
Yeah, 10-game season. He just took the world by storm. He basically changed the tight end position. Or, yeah, I mean, he basically did. He was like one of the very first best tight ends that there was. But anyways, I like Kyle Pitts in this one. And I don't think he's a bust. And I think if you have him on your team and you need him, you start him with confidence. I see this one being a high-scoring game. It's 2 teams with 2 offenses who are clicking right now. And they have some playmakers, and the defenses aren't great. So I think Lions-Falcons, surprisingly, is something you want a piece of in the semifinals, at least one.
I like it, man. Yeah, I got a tough choice between Swift and Javonte Williams this week, hoping that Swift is back.
Yeah, if Swift's back and he practices all week, the Falcons have a pretty good rush defense, but I think you have to use him. I think the checkdowns to him will put him over the top. I think he'll play more than 50%, whereas Javonte, you're limited to that. Plus, he's a little banged up. So I think that's an easy call if he practices in full all week.
All right. Do you want to go to questions or you want to go to another game?
Yeah, we'll do some more questions.
All right. Sorry, wrong one.
Next one.
Yep. Would you play Tony or Gage over Mooney?
And then I see he says later on, he says not Gabe Davis, Gage. Or not Gabe Davis, not Gage.
Oh, Gabe Davis.
I'm not touching Tony at all. I'm done with that experiment. Maybe next year. Not with the way the quarterback's position is. Not with his inability to stay on the field. No, the injury's over and it was COVID, but no. I mean, even if he blows up, like I'm not putting my semifinals in that. I'm not. Sorry. Going against the Eagles, I believe, this week. No. Not over Mooney. I like Mooney on the road in Seattle. I'm almost positive I'm correct. That Chicago offense is just so gross. It's just so gross. Like if Justin Fields plays the game like he's losing by 10 plus with 3 minutes to go or 8 minutes to go, if he plays the entire game like that, he's on fire. He's electric. He's amazing. The problem, he plays the first 3.5 quarters like, I don't even know. Like, there's no care in the world. Like, I got no urgency. I'll just run around. I'll run out of bounds. My throws will be lackluster. I would probably, I know that you switched off of Gage. I would probably play Gage over Mooney. And I think I'd play Gabe Davis over Mooney as well. He's coming on. We called it. He was our guesstimator last week. From the very beginning. Yeah, from the very beginning of the season. I just found out that Buffalo fans, it's like Buffalo fans like, what? You're the Bills Mafia, and you're just now upset that Gabe Davis wasn't playing all year and they were playing Emmanuel Sanders. I said this when they signed Emmanuel Sanders. What are you doing? You have an emerging Gabriel Davis who had an amazing end of the season last year. Why are you signing? Why are you being a stupid coach? Why are you being a dumb, bad fantasy manager? Picking these old guys off because you know their name. Use the young guy, develop them, see what you have. It's like, listen, I know you won't like this, Rob, but you're like the 2000s Yankees. You're getting all these old guys because their names are big. Just develop your farm system, which I think they're starting to do now. And I think that'll bode well for them. But anyways, I digress. I would play Gabe Davis over Mooney, Darko, no problem.
All right. I don't want to skip over Allen's things, but he added, even if Emmanuel Sanders comes back this week.
Yes. He's better. And the fans are now realizing it. It took you 16 weeks.
And even if Manny Sanders does come back, Beasley's out. So that Gabe Davis will kind of take, or I guess Manny will take over Beasley's role, and Gabe Davis will kind of stay the same. So, all right, Kyler Murray or Jimmy G?
Good question. Jimmy G has been the number one quarterback, not fantasy, but QB rating over the past month, maybe 5 games. He's lighting it up enough for the team to be doing what they're doing. And Kyler, I mean, it's like they figured out how to stop him. Just sort of sit back there, get close, but don't rush, because when you rush, he's fast enough to beat you. And then when he goes to throw, just jump, because he's 5'1", and all you have to do is put your hand in the air, wave it like you don't care, and you can block the ball. They got to figure that out. I do think, as we sort of talked about, that Arizona's offense will fix itself a little bit this week on Saturday. They're going to have to against the Colts. They're at home. I think they got blindsided last week. I think they went into the game a little down from the week before and didn't really get up for the Lions. And I think that the Cardinals do bounce back this week. Because Jimmy G's on the road and Kyler's at home and it's cheat code with the rush yards, I'm going Kyler Murray.
It's very close. I think you're right. But Kyler, just because of the rush yards potential, is how I agree. All right. Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Montgomery, Mixon, start 2.
Mixon banged up, Javonte banged up. I'm going Montgomery and Gordon. You can run on Seattle. And Gordon he's just automatic for whatever reason, touchdowns every week.
All right. Gallup, Mooney, Scary Terry, St. Brown, start 1.
Yeah, see, the Gallup train, nobody's on it more than me. I just don't see against Washington. I feel like they'll be able to control that game, and not need him too much. He's really good against Washington, though. He's got a great career. All his stats against Washington. I don't know how you sit McLaurin, because Trayvon Diggs gives up a ton of yards. He does get the interceptions. It depends on who's going to be their quarterback. Is Heineke going to get off the list? It's both of those players depend on Heineke, or at least Kyle Allen. Gilbert didn't look too bad, but he wasn't too good. He's a journeyman QB3 in the NFL. Serviceable when you need him, like they did, but not going to get the job done. I think I would go with Amon-Ra right now. He's hot. Ride the hot hand. He plays all over the field. He's a Cooper Kupp, Hunter Renfrow type of player with even a little more athleticism. And he's starting to show it. Rookie coming on. I think I would go with him.
All right. Looks like another league here. St. Brown, AJ Green, Mooney, Mike Williams, start 2.
Well, we got to see what the Mike Williams situation is, right?
Correct.
I think with this, depending on the Williams situation, I think this is where I'd give Mooney a shot and hope Justin Fields and Matt Nagy do something a little more intelligent this week, which isn't a very good hope.
Looks like Mike Williams is set to play.
Yeah, against the Texans. So I would go Amon-Ra, Mike Williams.
I agree. Mooney's close, though, just because of Seattle, how bad their defense is. But I think I would agree with you on that. Yeah. All right, let's go into another game here.
Yep.
Tampa Bay Bucks at the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, we saw what happened to Tampa Bay. Even Brady was pissed off enough to curse out one of the coaches. I posted something on the page there. My hatred for Brady. Yeah. Is it a get-right game? Evans out, more than likely. Godwin, IR, gone. Lenny, likely IR. You mentioned Rojo before, but who's Brady throwing to? It seems like Antonio Brown should be coming back this week. Is he the big start, or should we be looking at somebody else? From the Panthers, Robbie Anderson's coming on. You had mentioned him on the Sunday show saying, hey, you know what? Let's maybe take a chance on him. You were liking DJ Moore a little earlier. Talk about who we can start from the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, it sucks because it's Cam Newton. And although he looked a little bit better, he's still Cam Newton. But he's at home. It's a division game. I do kind of like DJ Moore in this one, but it is tough for that reason. Robbie Anderson coming on, but not really what people thought he would be. The running back situation is the running back situation. Listen, they're not going to be able to run on the Bucks anyways. Amir Abdullah did a little bit last week. I think he scored a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. He might be your only hope, but you're probably not doing that in the semifinals. There might be no need unless you're maybe an Eckler owner, maybe a Mixon owner. You're a little worried. Maybe Javonte is one of your guys, and you need a dart throw because that's the only way you're getting by the Bucks is passing to the running backs. Division game on the road can be tough. The Bucks without their top 2 guys, top 3 if you count Fournette. Fournette had those few weeks where he was killing it, right?
Yeah.
A month or so. And from the jump, yeah, he had some nice runs. He had a lot of nice catch and runs. But a lot of it was because Brady got them real close and he just punched it in. And let's just be honest. That's good for fantasy. It's fine. But the reality is, and as much as I love Rojo this week, and I think he's a must grab off the waiver wire, and I think he's a must start, I'm starting him. I've been holding him in a dynasty league. I'm starting him. Semifinals, no worries at all. But the only concern that everybody else should have, because you might not be as crazy as I am, is that the Bucks really don't want to run. They haven't really wanted to all season. They have ran, but they want Brady to have this record. They want him to, and I don't know how close he is to it at this point, especially after that zero burger last week. That probably maybe put a stop to that. You might say, well, now they're going to have to run, right? Now they're going to have to run because they don't have Godwin. They don't have Evans. But you go back in Brady's career. Brady very similar to Favre in a sense that you built a career, all-time Hall of Fame career, with a bunch of no-names for the most part. I mean, yeah, he had Welker, Edelman, Randy Moss for a couple of years. But other than that, he was always doing it with nobody. Deion Branch, right? People like
That's the
that.
first name that came to my mind.
Yeah. And it's like, he can do a lot with a little. He's still got Gronk. He's got two other tight ends there. Le'Veon Bell, we mentioned how stupid I think that signing is, but we'll see if he plays. Antonio Brown coming back. Perriman, if he's back, you saw that he's not going to
COVID.
be. Yeah. Well, all I was saying is we'll see if he's back.
Oh, he's back. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
You saw that he'll at least look to him. Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller. There's people there that he can look to and turn to. It'll be interesting because the Bucs, I feel like they want to go into this one to pound Carolina, but they might go into this one saying, we just need a win. We just need to make sure we win. Let's be safe. Let's be smart. And the Panthers have a good secondary, although they've got blown up past, a couple times over the past few weeks against the Falcons. Is the first one that comes to mind when Matty Ice carved them up on the road. They got pretty good corners. So I think the Bucs go safe, and I see Darko's comment down there. And yeah, two tight ends. Maybe use Keyshawn Vaughn a little bit more, but I think it's a lot of Rojo, two tight ends, close stuff with Antonio Brown, not too many chances, play tough defense. Make sure Cam doesn't beat you on the ground. Force him to beat you through the air. Force turnovers. So I think, honestly, if there's a sneaky sit this week, although he's pissed, it could be Brady. Because I feel like the Bucs will go into this one saying, we just need to win. Brady says, we just need to win. Let's be smart. I mean, Brady could wind up with 3-4 touchdowns, but not a lot of yards. Because I feel like the defense is enough to stop Carolina. And the reason I like DJ Moore is just volume.
Yeah, he did end up having like 6 receptions and like 50-something yards, if I'm not mistaken, last game. So, I mean, maybe I'm just a little not thinking straight. Obviously, I'm not feeling too great, as you guys can see. I'm coughing up a storm here.
That's okay.
All right, let's go into another game, then we'll go into some more questions. Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati Bengals. Again, we talked about the Ravens. Harbaugh's just – I don't get it. Tie the game, go into overtime. Huntley just brought you back down the field. You never know. The coin flip goes your way, you win the game. You beat Green Bay.
Yeah.
So,
and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly. So Huntley seems like he could be the starter again. He's loving Andrews. That seems to be his go-to guy. I think it's all systems go with him. Do we feel comfortable starting anybody else from the Baltimore Ravens? On the Cincy side, this seems to be the healthiest team out there. Really not hearing any COVID or anything like that. I think even Burrow said today, he's like, there's nothing to do in Cincinnati, so we're playing the game and going home. So Mixon actually practiced in full today. Said that he was actually feeling pretty good. So I agree. Mixon, I was obviously a start, but out of the 3 receivers, who do we think would be the best option out of those 3 to play?
I like them all. And over the past few weeks, it's been one or the other. And that's the issue. And that was the issue with Bucs wide receivers. And, kind of, not really, because they haven't all been healthy with Dallas, but really with the Bucs. And that's why we never really got fully behind the Bucs this year, because we didn't know it would be this guy, And it's been rotation. But every week we've been calling the Buck that it would be. We were like, okay, this week's going to be Evans week. And then, it was. And they were like, this one's going to be a Godwin week. And it was. And it wasn't Evans. So we've been kind of nailing that. The Bengals have been a little more, I don't know. And Darko, again, I see his comment down there. We don't want to pull him up too soon, but Higgins and Chase this week, sure. But I got to tell you, the first one that came to my mind was Boyd. But I don't think that Higgins and Chase have bad weeks. I like all 3 of them this week. The first one that came to mind was Boyd because I feel like Boyd is their possession guy. He's the guy that will keep a drive alive. Higgins is a stud. Chase is a stud. Boyd is a good football player, a possession guy, a sure-handed guy. And when they use him, he usually gets, like when he's involved, he usually gets a ton of targets. And I feel like all three of them will be used this week because I do feel like this is going to be a back and forth. This is for the division. Let's be honest. The Browns shot themselves in the foot losing that game. And Pittsburgh is like, they're disgusting. This is the division right here. And I think it's going to be back and forth, whether it's Lamar or Huntley. I think Huntley's just as good as Lamar. Might be sacrilegious to say, but I do think so. Called him Lamar 2.0 before anybody knew who he was weeks ago, the first time he had to play for Lamar. And Bateman had a down week. I feel like Bateman could be a nice play in this one because 2 weeks ago when Huntley came in, Bateman ate. So I think Bateman is a nice play this week. Brown hasn't been doing much, but I think they're going to use him. I think they're going to need him. So it's Brown, Bateman, Andrews, and all three of them. And if you must, the running backs are good to go. And I'll even say Devonta Freeman. Whatever.
All right, so you're thinking all systems go then on this game.
Get a piece of this game. And this game, we'll watch this. You can write this down. This game and the Detroit Atlanta game, like you want a piece or two out of these two games. I think they'll be the two high scoring games. And I just want to look at what the over unders are because if Vegas agrees with me, no, they think the Detroit Atlanta is going to be low scoring. They think they're both going to be right at 44. I think I could see them both at 48 easily.
All right. Let's go on to a question here. Play Josh Allen versus Pats or Burrow versus Ravens? Point per attempt.
I think you got to go Burrow. I think you got to go Burrow at home based on everything I just said. But how do you sit Josh Allen? How do you sit Josh Allen at home or on the road?
On the road.
Yeah, you know he's going to want to beat the Patriots, but I think that's why you sit him. That's what I meant. Like, how do you sit him on the road? That's how you sit him. That's
Burrow at home. Defense, yeah, the Pats defense is just at a different level. I mean, they didn't play great last week, but ebbs and flows. And this is, again, I don't know how to say it the right way again. I'm kind of just all jumbled up in here, but Buffalo, they are expecting Buffalo to come in here and gunslinging. The ball's gonna be flying down the field. You don't think the Patriots know that? They're gonna do everything possible to not let them go over the top. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Make them run the ball. That's what he's gonna force them to do. Make them run the ball.
Yeah, because he knows they don't want to.
Exactly.
I think they both have good weeks. I think I give Burrow the nod, and it's a very slight nod for being at home against a worse defense. But the Ravens have a really good rush defense. I think they're number one in the league against the run. So Mixon could get stuffed enough that Burrow has to throw the ball even more, which is a good thing for this case. I think it's close because you get Josh Allen rush yards, whereas you're not really going to get that as much with Burrow. But I think Josh Allen has a good game. I don't think you can really go wrong either way. But if I had to make a call, I'm going Burrow at home for the division, essentially.
All right. Would you start Taysom instead of Kyler?
Taysom is does nothing until the very end.
They're Monday night against the Dolphins.
He does nothing until the very end. I don't know. It's so close. It's so close. You know what you're going to get with Taysom. Dolphins are tough. Colts are tough.
Dolphins are secretly a really good team right now. What, they won 6 or 7 in a row?
7.
Yeah, I mean, to start that way, I mean, then to be doing what they're doing. I think it's 6 if I'm not mistaken. But even still, the fact that the way they're winning games is not only offense but from the defensive standpoint. I would go Kyler still.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with the Kyler bounce back. I think last week wasn't fluky, because I feel like they got beat. I feel like they weren't prepared. I feel like they were coming off of a loss, a devastating loss. They lost the number one seed. They said, "All right, let's just go against Detroit. Let's just go through the motions and win this game. Detroit sucks," and they just weren't prepared. And I heard somebody else say this, so I won't take credit for it. But it's like the thing that people say about the teams, like the worst team in the NFL. They're like, "Oh, put them against Alabama. Alabama will beat them." No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't. It's a completely different world. It's boys versus men. They won't win. They won't win. It won't even be close. The worst NFL team versus the best college team. No, it will not. But I feel like Arizona went in there with that thought process. We're really good. We could just go in through the motions and beat this team. No, you can't. You got to play football any given Sunday, to be cliche. But it came to fruition. I think that they smarten up a little this week because the Rams are right on their heels, and they could lose the division at this point.
I think I was reading a couple of stats, like they were showing who the best records are, but what their biggest weakness is. And they had the Arizona Cardinals with red zone. Being in the red zone is their biggest weakness because they can't score the ball. Like the Rams, they had turnovers. Green Bay, they had their special teams and so on and so forth. But it was in big, bold letters. Once Arizona gets in the red zone, it's not good. I think that changes a little bit this week because that's going to be the focus is how do we get the ball into the end zone without D-Hop, possibly without Connor. Kyler, I think, is just he's gonna run. He's gonna actually have his running touchdowns that he's produced in the past.
I'm telling you right now, Arizona is in trouble. This is a make or break game, and the past few weeks have not looked good for them. And without D Hop, it makes it even worse. But I think they know that. And I feel like they are planning, like they never planned before. They basically took a week off of game planning last week. And, they get a good young coach, and I think he's going to have them ready for this one to do some things on offense. The one thing they're not doing is they're not using Kyler's legs. And I feel like they're going to get that going this week. They have no choice. They have to score that ball in the end zone. Without D Hop, they're going to need him. And that's what will give me the edge for Kyler. Taysom is getting it done, but it's at the end. It's at the end of all these games. He's doing nothing, and then at the end, he's scoring points. You're like, oh, phew, that saved me. I'm going to go with Kyler.
All right. Am I crazy for thinking about benching Josh Allen this week?
No, you just got to have a better option.
All right. Allen with the question. Mixon or Higgins in the flex?
I'll go Higgins, but it's tough. It's really tough. I just know Baltimore's so good against the run. I I want to. I'm going to do you a favor, Alan. I'm going to research, and maybe Robbie can write this down to remind me. I'm going to research Mixon's last 4 games against the Ravens. I want to see what he did. Because their rush defense has really turned it on over the past month and a half. And they're shutting people down on the ground. And that worries me a little, but Mixon can catch the ball. And that could put him slightly over Higgins. I like them both. But I want to see what Mixon's done in the past against the Ravens. Just to sort of get a little bit of a feel.
All right, I wrote it down. Darko, thanks for the update, man. We talked about the Bucks going with 2 tight ends a lot, Higgins and Chase this week. Good question. Allen Gabe stack or Burrow Chase stack?
Again, I like them both. I really like them both. I honestly think Gabe is going to have a bigger game than Chase, but I like Burrow over Allen. So.
All right. I don't like Kyler, and I think he put without D-Hop, alligator arm Green just doesn't cut it.
No, he doesn't. He's drunk.
Beer goggles. All right. Hey, Jeremy. Wanted to stop in and say hi. No waivers or anything for me since I'm eliminated, but following you guys a bit over 3 years and 0 Super Bowl appearances. Anything I'm missing, or should I look at if I do fantasy next year? Why would you quit? You got to
Yeah,
get to a championship.
you got to win. All you got to do is win one. You win one, you win one. It's set. You're set for 5 years minimum. That's it. That's it.
Agreed. Alan, will the Dolphins make the playoffs?
I want them to,
I don't.
and I want the Eagles to make the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would
I'm
be cool.
I'm excited for the Eagles to get in. I like the way that their team is sort of turning out. Look at my hair. That's cool.
Jeremy with finance, dude. If you can't afford it or something like
Yeah.
that's on you, man.
Yeah. It should be fun. It should be entertainment. It's like if you can't afford to go to the movies, don't go to the movies.
Exactly.
So okay, if you can't afford to eat out, don't eat out. It should be fun.
All right, let's go on to the next one here. I'm dying slowly here. Los Angeles Chargers at Houston Texans. Chargers, I don't know, man. I like the Chargers. I'm actually picking up the Chargers defense this week to play against Houston. I'm finally using my number 1 waiver wire in Dynasty that I've been holding since, I think, week 2 or something like that. But anyways, is that a good call, first of all? And then who are we starting with Eckler being out? You had mentioned Justin Jackson. Could Roundtree, make an appearance? What do you think from that perspective? Texans, Cooks is out. He has COVID. Is it Nico Collins time? Is that somebody that we can possibly pick up? Anybody else we should be thinking about from the Texans?
Yeah, no, I love your call on the Chargers. Let's hope COVID doesn't spread any further within their locker room since Eckler got it today. That could happen. Keep an eye on that. I believe Bosa's out as well still, or did he come back? But I do like the call because without Cooks, they're down their best playmaker. Collins been coming on. Brevin Jordan, okay. Not digging their running back room at all. Haven't been. So, they've been playing okay. Davis Mills been playing okay. But, Chargers defense, I think, is probably one of your best waiver wire streaming defenses of the week. And I already talked about the running backs. I don't have a good feeling about going out and spending all your money on Justin Jackson. If he's the best one out there, then go ahead, grab him so nobody else does. But I don't like playing him this week. I don't like putting my season on the line with him because it could very easily be Larry Roundtree. It could very easily be Joshua Kelly. They could, who knows? It could be all 3 of them. And I feel like they got enough other weapons on offense. They'll be able to move all over the Texans, so that's good for the run game. But again, is it going to be him? If you don't have a better option or your opponent, remember what I said a couple of weeks ago, maybe you're playing against somebody and you're like, oh, they need a running back. Well, guess what you need to do? You need to go get Justin Jackson. And if you want, you should get Joshua Kelly. And if you got space, you should get Larry Roundtree. Just get them all. Don't even play them. But just make sure your opponent doesn't play them. Because they will, whoever it is, 1, 2, 3 of them, will be able to run all over the Texans. Allen,
Joey Bosa is out, just to give you a heads up.
Yeah, Allen should be back and just fine, right? He's back and good to go. Williams. Josh Palmer looks better and better and better. He's going to be a stud. If you're in a dynasty league and the offseason begins, you should be going out and trying to trade for Josh Palmer. I'm telling you that right now. I don't think Mike Williams is going to last very long. I know he got his contract, but I don't know. Yeah, I feel like Josh Palmer is showing me something, and he's got to be showing them something. Dude's a stud. He just looks like a really, really good ball player. I think he's going to play for a long time, and we should be able to see him ball out in this one. I think they look to him. Josh Palmer, sneaky wide receiver start, I would think, for this week. I think he solidified that number 3 role with this team. I know Guyton scored last week, but I think that Josh Palmer's the guy. They drafted him. He looks really good to me.
Prayers up for Parham, too, man. That was a crazy hit.
Yeah, that was scary to watch.
Yeah, man. I mean, the way he was moved, scary stuff, man. Hopefully he's okay. All right, going to the next one here. Los Angeles Rams at Minnesota Vikings. coming off the Tuesday game. It's a short week for them. Does that affect them in any way? I mean, Cooper Kupp is just amazing. I mean, some of the throws that Stafford's throwing to this guy, he's not even in the picture, and all of a sudden he's just like, I got it. Obviously, you're starting him. Van Jefferson had not the greatest game. OBJ. Are we trusting starting these guys against the Minnesota Vikings defense, who's not that great, to be honest with you? On the flip side, Thielen should be coming back. It's a possibility. How does that affect everybody else around him? And does Osborne kind of disappear then?
You want to know what's the craziest thing about Cooper Kupp? Our very first season, I believe, I told everybody, I said, Cooper Kupp is a stud.
I remember that, man.
And he's going to be amazing.
Gosh, best friend.
Like, that was like my first, and I even think it was number one on the list, like prediction ever on Answers by Guess, was about how good Cooper Kupp was and how good of a season he was going to have. And he had a pretty good season. But then what saddens me is going into this year, it was the unknown, right? Like, we all liked Kupp. We all loved Kupp. We knew how good Kupp was. He was a little down from the first couple of years. But we didn't know how Stafford would use him. We didn't know, we didn't realize that the reason he was a little down is because guess who else was a little down the past couple of years? Jared Goff. And stupid us. So I'm sorry to all of you out there. Like, we should have been being like, hey, remember the guy that we liked before we ever did a show more than anybody, before anybody even knew who he was, Cooper Kupp? Yeah, you should go out and get him. Well, we slept on it because we're like, I don't know if Stafford's going to like that type of check down guy because he's never really had that type of guy. And guess what? Cooper Kupp stopped kind of being the check down guy. So it's like
he's the everything.
he's the everything. So yeah, the Rams. I told a couple people to bench Van Jefferson last week. I feel like that was a great call. It's just, he had a couple fluky plays here and there, a couple big games, but they didn't really need them. And I kind of felt like that could be coming. They just have so many weapons. Didn't think that Skoranek would be catching a ton of passes out there. I don't think that's coming. I don't think you need to go out and pick him up. I could see maybe why you're thinking Kirk Cousins could be a drop because he's going against the Rams, but they have Justin Jefferson. And watching Jalen Ramsey try and cover Justin Jefferson, this is going to be a good game to watch. That's my favorite part of this, is because I don't think he's going to be able to cover him. I think Justin Jefferson's going to light him up. And that's why I got no problem with Kirk Cousins this week. Thielen might even play this week. He was close last week. We'll see what happens. And Osborne's been doing okay, and we'll see if Madison gets off the COVID list. I'm playing against Dalvin Cook, so I won't wish that he goes on the COVID list, but I'm just saying. but if you have him, I wish no harm on anybody. But yeah, this one should be a good one. Vikings at home. They're fighting for their playoff lives. I actually would like the Vikings to win since the Packers already wrapped up the division, get the Rams off the Packers' back a little bit. But I like the Rams' offensive options. I think Henderson is going to break the hearts of many Sony Michel owners this week because I think it was easy to see last week, and we called it that Sony Michel was a better play than Henderson. We said so. Said Henderson coming off the list. They've been saving Sony for this, and they use Sony a lot more. I think next week they use Henderson at least a lot more than they used him last week. I think you see closer to 50-50 at worst or at best, depending on how you look at it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Henderson gets even more carries, more touches than Sony in this one. Just to keep him sort of, keep the juices flowing. He's got an extra week off of COVID. Henderson's their 1A, so I think he could break the hearts of Sony Michel owners this week. If I had both and I had another option, I'd sit both and I'd play the other option if the other option was pretty good.
from a Henderson perspective, you got to think about it. A lot of running backs that come back from COVID. That first week back is always tough.
Yeah.
They always have a down week. It seems like so.
Yep.
All right, let's go on to the next one here. Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. We kind of talked about this one already, but just let's recap as far from a perspective of who are we starting on Buffalo, who are we staying away from, and the same concept for New England Patriots.
Yeah, I think Allen has a good game. We like Gabe Davis. I think Knox will do his thing. They're going to try and force him to run the ball. I'm not playing any of the Bills running backs, so I'm not worried about it. Allen will do his thing. As far as the Patriots go, I said it after the Patriots game. I said that they would come out slinging. They really didn't do so right off the jump against the Colts. But in this one, I think that they will. He's got kind of weapons, but nobody's using Mac Jones anyways. Hunter Henry, don't go nuts over his huge performance last week. We've seen it earlier in the season. And then a little bit of a dip comes. He's viable. He catches touchdowns. He's the Chris Carter of tight ends. Just doesn't usually get as much targets. He's just who was open last week. He's who they were finding. I think Mac will look to spread the ball around more. The running back's going to be the problem. Harris banged up. Ramondre's sick. I think that's going to hurt the Patriots more than anything in this one because their strategy last game was run, right? 3 passes. If you don't have those 2 running backs, you're not going to be able to run on the Bills. So a little iffy. I would kind of feel like stay away from the Patriots in this one. I think their defense is going to have to work really hard in this one. The offense will be able to sustain drives, but there's nobody out there that really jumps off the page. Let's answer some questions.
All right. I want the Giants to play Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, I think they're going to – I said earlier in the season I think they're going to move on from Daniel Jones. I still think it's going to happen. Wouldn't be surprised if Russell Wilson goes to the Giants or Russell Wilson goes to Denver. See that happen, one of the two.
Interesting. All right. Who to start with Eckler out? Does he have a shot at playing? How about Kelsey? I think Kelsey actually has a shot at playing because he's vaccinated. I don't think Eckler's going to be eligible.
Yeah, who's the star? I've talked about it. I don't think it's any of those 3. I think you grab them to protect so your opponent doesn't grab them just in case, but I wouldn't take a shot with any of the Chargers running backs. Just not feeling it. Justin Jackson is too obvious, and I don't think it's going to end up being him. It could be, and that's why you grab him, just so your opponent doesn't. But I don't want to play him. And I think Kelsey will play, and I hope Kelsey plays, personally.
Any thoughts on DFS and such for me to try to at least not make this season a loss?
No, because finances.
Good point. Yeah, put that money in a jar, man.
Yeah. DFS is tough, man. You know how close I've been. How close I've been to. I've texted Rob lineups like I was so close to $45,000. $45,000 if I played in one of those 5-player ones where you had to have somebody in a captain where they get 1.5 points. I had the same exact lineup as first place for $45,000. This was a couple weeks ago, but I had the wrong player in the captain's chair. I won $11, I think. $11. So it's so hard. Even when you get it right, it's got to be so right. And there's I know they call them experts, but I don't even know how they're experts. I think they're robots, honestly, who just play 1,000 lineups with every different variation you come up with. And they seem to always win. It's so hard. And if you don't have the money to put, towards a season long, DFS is not for you. That would be my suggestion. It's just so hard to win money in DFS. I mean, I feel to myself, I'm putting $25 in here, $25 in there, and I'm playing with that money for a few weeks. And then I come to a week where I win no money. I'm like, I got to put another $25, play a few more lineups. It's it's fun. You get close, you win $3 here, $10 there, and you're so close to the huge payouts, but you just never do it. But I'm not going to stop trying.
All right. And especially just to kind of DFS this week with all the COVID and not knowing who's going to be playing, and I would just stay away from DFS this week. At least that's my opinion.
I'll be playing DFS.
Huntley or Burrow. Sorry, Huntley or
But
Burrow.
but if I'm worried about dollars and cents, like to that degree, I'm not. I'm gonna go with Burrow at home. I feel like the Bengals are gonna win this game.
All right, Susan with Vumnook.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. Are you watching? I know that you're just a bot, and but there's got to be somebody controlling this bot. I hope you're watching. It's like, what is your life involved? Why? What is going to happen with that comment? Can you click that comment? Will that put a virus on my computer? I don't even know what that is. It just seems like a waste of life. A waste of life. Sorry. Artificial life. So be it. It's a waste.
All right, Jeremy. I was really close to winning 14K in Super 6. I picked all the winners and missed only by 2-point margins.
It's terrible.
Exactly what he
so
was saying,
close.
man.
So close.
Looking for a big win and not even a gambler. Put the money in a jar, man.
We all are, man. Yeah, put it in a jar. That's one thing I wish I would do. Take my pocket change out. Take my $1 bills when I come home from work and throw them in a jar. But no, I don't. When I go to the store, I make sure I use all my $1 bills and every single piece of change. Like, oh, it's $3.73. Oh, I might have 73 cents right here. Just so I don't need any more change. What I should be doing is just dump it in a jar. I see people do that, and then they're end of the year they got like $8,000. They're like, I'm going on vacation with my pocket change. It's like, oh, I got a soda.
I got a soda
in November. I got a soda one time in November with my pocket change. I'm doing it wrong, man. I'm doing it wrong, and I know
Burrow, it. The Bengals own the Ravens. Yeah, I would go with Burrow too.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with Jacksonville Jaguars at the New York Jets. Jets have COVID. Sal is out. Jamison Crowder didn't practice today. Obviously, no Elijah Moore, no Corey Davis. Who the hell is he throwing to? And Michael Carter's out too with COVID. Coleman looked okay. This is the battle of the quarterbacks, though. 1 and 2, right? Should we see fireworks, or is this going to be one of those games that it's just a dud and you kind of can start defenses almost in a way? Jacksonville, who we thinking as far as from a wide receiver standpoint? J-Rob looked pretty good last week, almost had 2 touchdowns. And can we trust Trevor Lawrence in a pinch?
Just like I told you last week, you play J-Rob with the new coaching regime and with the easy matchup. That's what you do. Yes. And the wide receivers, Treadwell keeps doing his thing. Marvin Jones is done. I thought that he would bounce back a little bit last week. No. Dan Arnold's coming back, I believe, designated to return. So we'll see what goes on there. But I think it's J-Rob. And you know what? I got a bad feeling about this game. I got a real bad feeling. You want to know what my bad feeling is? Trevor Lawrence torches the Jets.
Ugh.
And ESPN is all over his cojones for a week.
Nice
for a week. All you're going to have is just a fan flying and hair just flopping. You're like, oh, the Adonis. Trevor, look, he's back, everybody. And he'll fluff his eyebrows and stuff. And everybody want to pet him. And it's like, no, come on. He runs backwards. He's a terrible quarterback. He's not very good at all. But he's going to have a signature win here. I'm sorry, Rob. COVID is the main reason. They're going to come up north. It's going to be nice out. It's going to be like a fall. It's going to be like a fall day down in Jacksonville. And he's going to feel right at home like he did in Clemson this time of year. And it's just it's not going to matter. And he's going to have a game, and they're just going to fawn over him for a week. And it's going to want to make me throw up like I just ate a ton of chicken wings and drank a bunch of White Claw.
You love your White Claws.
And that's all I'm touching in this game is J-Rob, by the way. Treadwell if you need to.
Real quick, comment. I think I mentioned to you actually before the show started. Braxton Berrios may not be a bad play. He's kind of sneaking with even the return yards. He's the best returner or one of the best returners in football. He didn't have a ton of targets. He had the touchdown last week on a run, but they're doing some fluky plays that they involve him. So if Jamison Crowder doesn't play and you're in a real pinch, I mean, Braxton Berrios may be somebody to look at.
Braxton Berrios, your week 16 Robinator. Write it down. Write it down.
All right. Braxton, mother Berrios.
Mother.
All right. New York Giants at those teams.
Oh, God. The Giants. Saquon looks really good sometimes, right? He looks really good catching the ball sometimes. He looks really good making cuts sometimes. And then the rest of the time, Mike Glennon is the quarterback, and you're just like, hey, what? And Jake from State Farm, yeah, maybe they let him roll with it. I don't know. Tony will be back, maybe. Who knows? I don't want anything. No. Shepard's out for the year. Good, because I'm tired of having to think that he'll come back and do something. No, there was a flash in the pan. I feel like his career's over.
Oof.
I do. It's been this way for too many seasons in a row and many times throughout the season. I feel like he'll play next year. You know, like he didn't have a career-ending injury, but he'll play next year, and it'll be the same sort of thing. And it's just Sterling Shepard will be a name where you're like, remember Sterling Shepard? He was great. Almost like Golden Tate. Like, it feels like Golden Tate was just here, and now he's gone.
Gone.
And that's how it's going to be with Sterling Shepard. It's how it's going to be with a lot of guys. I got a feeling about a lot. We won't get into it tonight. But I do feel that way with him. You know, Galladay, I feel like I nailed that one. But the quarterback kind of is to blame. So those of you that were behind Galladay, it's not all your fault. And the Eagles are just rolling right now. This is like, I hope the Eagles, mostly for my disdain for the Giants. I'm sorry, Alan. But I really hope the Eagles don't go into this like Arizona went into Detroit last week. Go finish business, get to 8-7, put yourself in position to make the playoffs. You have a layup game, take care of it. So Miles Sanders, we'll see what happens. I heard he's a little banged up. I think Jalen Hurts is a slam dunk in this one. Goddard, of course. Quez Watkins got a little involved last night. We'll see if that, but he's not enough involved. Jordan Howard's killing it. Jordan Howard, he's somebody you could pick up because he was probably dropped. He's probably sitting out there. And this is a nice matchup against the Giants. And if Miles Sanders stays out, Jordan Howard could be a really good play this week. Really good play. He would have been a good guesstimator, I think.
Yeah. I didn't even think about Jordan Howard, to be honest with you. And he pounded the ball yesterday pretty well.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me.
There's Smith and Rager, sure. But it's like, they get close. Hurts is running it in. Or Goddard's catching it for the most part.
How do you feel about the defense? I have Philly defense and New England defense. I'm actually starting Philly defense right now.
I would go with Philly. I like Philly at home. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Chicago at Seattle. It's supposed to be a snowy game.
Talked about the. I'm just trying to go quick for your sake. We kind of talked about this one. We'll see what the Bears' offense looks like. You can certainly move the ball against Seattle. Seattle at home is a better team. Chicago is a much worse defense than the Rams. I feel like Seattle offense will come up. DK was very vocal last night. Changes are happening, and I'm kind of happy about it. Pete Carroll's going to be gone. Russell's going to be on a new team next year. But I like DK Metcalf. I think you stick with him in this one. I don't think Lockett's back yet. We'll see what happens there. Mooney's a fine play, but the problem is the coaching and the quarterback play. He doesn't play with urgency. Love Montgomery in this one. Get Montgomery in your lineup. And Komet's a good play too. Jimmy Graham needs to go. Jimmy Graham needs to be on a boat with Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate. I love Jimmy Graham. Great, great career, but it's like, come on, it's over.
Yeah, sit down, old man.
Yeah.
All right, Pittsburgh Steelers at the Kansas City Chiefs. As far as the Steelers' perspective, the run game, Najee didn't have a good game last week. Is this a bounce back? Is this the ebbs and flows that we're looking for? Talk about the wide receivers and people from KC with the COVID situation.
Yeah. Najee will bounce back. Deontay will bounce back. You might even see Chase Claypool in this one. They're going to need him. Fryermuth as well. All solid plays. Chiefs, no Hill. I sort of think Powell, the rookie, could do some things for the Chiefs this week. Is it Colin or Cornell? What's his name? I know it starts with a C. I'm sorry that I'm not as caught up with him, but he's done a couple things. And without Hill, I think that he could be a sneaky play. He was almost the guesstimator for the week. So he's somebody you can sneakily pick up. But the sad part with that is that it only lasts a week because Tyreek the Freak will be back in action. But you know what happens when Tyreek Hill is out? It's Mecole Hardman time. Hardman shines when Hill is out because he is Hill. This is going to be Mecole Hardman week. Big Mecole Hardman week. And I think Kelsey does play, but Hardman's your best one. And as Darko, he was kind of joking, brought up about Josh Gordon, but he was activated off the COVID list. And I do think that he gets some burn in this one. I think that this could actually be, I know Mecole is going to take over the Hill role. This could actually be good for Patrick Mahomes. Because less trying to just chuck it to Tyreek and more looking around and getting the other guys involved. Can you be a pocket quarterback that sort of sits and looks for everyone, especially if Kelsey's not there? Because if Kelsey's not there and Hill's not there, he's going to have to use other people. Because I don't think CEH is going to be able to run that well on this Steelers defensive line.
Hill has a possibility to test out of COVID, it sounds like, and I wouldn't be surprised. Definitely pay attention to this one, guys. It could be a Tuesday game. They're trying to push back so that they, again, can give the Chiefs a little bit of opportunity to get healthy. You hit on this one before about Drew Lock. Oh, we did go over this game already. My bad. Sunday Night Football. Washington football team at the Dallas Cowboys. You had mentioned a couple guys from this as well. Let's go over them and who you're thinking. Talk about the running back situation for the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, if Gibson's toe's good, he's good to go. He came back in the game, but he was out for a little bit. He's catching the ball. He's getting 15 to 20 touches a game easily. So he's obviously a play. If Heineke plays, it's going to be better for everyone, Dallas and Washington. Because if Heineke doesn't play, I feel like Dallas will just be able to sort of dictate this game on the ground and in the air. I like Terry McLaurin. Carter looked pretty good last night, a couple good plays, but they're going to need Heineke to be back if they want to be competitive. And Dallas wins this game. I know they already locked up the division with that loss last night against the Eagles, but Washington, if Dallas wins this game, they're going to sink even further in the standings. So they do need this one. But in order for a really solid feeling about Gibson and McLaurin, I'm going to need Heineke there. So we'll see what happens later in the week. I like Gallup. He typically kills Washington. Zeke, I told everybody, do not worry about Zeke last week. I liked him, and it turned out really well. I like Zeke in this one as well, once again. And you know what? It's kind of crazy. Like, he hasn't really fallen off, but I was kind of dead on. Like, when Gallup came back, and also when they had all the wide receivers, the tight ends sort of fall off just a little. Schultz. So the Washington's kind of not great against tight ends, but this could be a game where they may not need to throw the ball much. So it just depends on Heineke. Heineke is the key in this one.
Is Pollard possibly a start if you need one?
I don't know because they're a playoff team now. They locked up the division. I don't think that they would be rushing him back. And you say, well, Zeke's hurt, but I don't think Zeke's hurt anymore. He didn't look hurt.
He looked pretty good, man.
Yeah. So.
All right, just curious more than anything. All right, Miami Dolphins at the New Orleans Saints. You kind of mentioned Taysom Hill before, but he was throwing at Callaway, man. Callaway actually had over 100 yards. He looked pretty good. Do we see a repeat against a Miami Dolphins team? Was pretty decent defense, has been on a trending. We talked about the 6-game win streak. Talk about Tua, who he's throwing to. Waddle's back as well.
Yeah, well, who had the blueprint? What jump started Miami season? The win against Baltimore on Thursday night. I mean, that's kind of what is giving me a little bit of reservation with Taysom. Different type of runner, a little more violent, but still, you can go in with that same sort of blueprint, that same sort of tenacity on prime time. And if you stop Taysom running, or at least can limit him, hit him at the line, and slow him down, do what they sort of did to Lamar, they could wreak havoc. I thought Adam Troutman would have a better game last week. Had a couple targets, dropped a couple nice ones. One right near, I believe, the 5-yard line. And I think that they got to look to get him a little more involved again this week. They were throwing the ball still to Bennett and Juwan Johnson, our homeboy from the preseason in week 1. So he's still looking to those guys. He's looking to the all 5 of the same exact type of wide receiver that New Orleans has. So there's not really much you can play. If you have to play Taysom, it's okay, but I feel like Miami could go into this with a similar game plan, like I said, that they did against Baltimore and really limit him on the ground. Kamara's your number 1 play. For the Dolphins, Waddle's back. We'll see how he comes back off the COVID list. You know, we talked about when players come back, they typically struggle a little bit. We'll see how he comes back. I'm using him because I'm not going to leave a Monday Night Magic stud wide receiver like that on my bench in the semifinals, because there's no way I'm watching Monday Night Football losing by 10 points without a fighting chance with someone like Jalen Waddle out there.
I like the thinking, man. Yeah, Waddle's just been so consistent. Well, you have to take a chance on him.
And Rob, I believe you have Henry and Gesicki, or no, you dropped Henry.
Yeah, I dropped Henry. I just have Gesicki right now. So I'm going to go Gesicki. I unfortunately have New Orleans defense in that league as well. I know we've talked about, don't worry about starting guys against your defense. I figure it's a tight end. I'm okay with that. If it's a running back or a Waddle or something like that, maybe thinking about something different. But the fact that it's Gesicki, I'm okay with him getting his 5 catch. I need 9 points out of him. That's what I always look for, at least 9 points.
Well, I was going to say, I have a feeling that Gesicki, I can't remember the last time Miami played on Monday night. I feel like that this game must have been flexed to Monday or something. I don't know. Or no, they don't flex Mondays. They only flex Sunday night.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe they've done it this season. I just didn't realize. But I kind of feel like Mike Gesicki makes a name for himself in this game.
Ooh, yikes. Maybe I should be looking for another defense.
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, maybe. Tua's been really solid, man. Rock solid.
He has been. I mean, he's looked fantastic the last couple of weeks here.
See if the Chargers are out there.
Unfortunately, no. I have Chicago already. That may be a possibility, but again, I mean, Seattle's home in the snow. That's the kind of taking a chance kind of thing. Jacksonville was something else I was looking at with all the problems with the Jets.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because I do feel like Lawrence is going to have a good game, and the Jets have nothing. I would just go with the Saints. Go with the Saints.
And this is Miami's first game on Monday night.
For
this season.
Ever
in life.
I can feel Gesicki just – I mean, it's not like he's going to be like 12 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. I just feel like he's going to make a couple plays. He's vocal. He's energetic. You know, he's a big dude, good-looking dude. And I feel like he's just going to make some plays that's going to get, like, you know, America recognizing him a little bit. It's like, oh, who's this Gesicki dude? You know what I mean? And I feel like he's going to make a name for himself more than outside of the fantasy circle. Fantasy people know Mike Gesicki. The world doesn't know him. You know what I mean?
I pick up what you're putting down there, bud. All right, let's go over the last comments here. He spends all his money on chicken. Oh, that's where you got that from? Yeah. I picked up Howard a few days ago. Yeah, Howard's a good pickup, man. That's definitely
See, Jeremy,
a smart move.
you know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
You get too down on yourself.
I have the Finns for the upset. Yeah, dude, it wouldn't surprise me.
I can see it.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
I can see like a 24-22, 24-21, something in the 20s, them sneaking it out. That defense, if they go into it, like I said, like they did against the Ravens, they could stop Taysom Hill. You stop Taysom Hill, it's pretty good.
That's funny. I chose the Dolphins, and my over, I think, was 45, which probably was exactly 24-21.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Answers by guests. So always remember, like us, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Guests, final thoughts.
Yeah, we did an entire week and questions in under 1 hour and 45 minutes. That was with a ton of nonsense talking by yours truly. But it is Wednesday night, and there will be questions. Everybody's going to be busy, very busy. Tomorrow's the 23rd, which means we're a day away from Christmas Eve. If you celebrate Christmas, which means we're 2 days away from Christmas. I'm going to be very busy all weekend. Rob is going to be very busy. Everybody's going to be very busy. But if you have questions, here's what I need you to do. I need you to post them on the page. You can PM, but post them on the page, because although I don't get notifications and Rob doesn't get notifications and it pisses us off, and we put angry faces and sad faces, somebody sees them. And if you're not getting our opinion, we've already given our opinion tonight, right? Post the question on the page. Somebody will be able to see it. Somebody will answer it. And eventually, before Thursday, before Saturday, before Sunday, I'll check the page and I'll see it. But post it. Post on the page. Give the family, the ABG family, who've been with us, some for months, some for years, a chance to shed their expertise on it. Because sometimes just hearing it from one is not enough. Sometimes you got to hear from, pick a little here, pick a little there. What we say is not gospel. It's just a guess. This is answers by guess. And it's educated, but it is what it is. And you got to take from here, take from there, take from there, put it all together, put it inside of your heart, smile, and go with your gut. And have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Answers by guess. All right. Best of luck. Hope to see you next week. Let's get to this championship.
Good luck. See you, everybody.
Later, guys.